a message for my people.
Nick Dad, baby. We the new label.
Yeah. Now this the black sheep, sticking it to him. I need a crib like I'm Gatsby.
I need it.
In hand, just understand my
Pockets that deep.
with nothing to prove. I ain't got nothing to do. When they can't compete and I got nothing to lose.
Yes, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to Veterans Minimum. Flying solo today. Shout out to George. He's on vacation with the fam. Shout out to Fernando for coming on the show last week. Shout out to all of you listening, watching, following us on all social media platforms at Veterans Minimum, the number one sports betting vibe on the internet. I am your host, Nick Deus. All things me are at Nick Deus 10 on social media. Want to make an announcement before we start the show with the Patreon. We've been teasing it for a little bit, but it's been something that George and I have discussed for a long time, and we finally want to make it public. So we're changing the Patreon, and I think this time it's going to be for good because, let's be honest, we're very honest on this show. We haven't really fulfilled all the things that we're supposed to be fulfilling on a monthly basis. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of things going on behind the scenes that George and I are starting to formulate and build a team. So anyone out there that wants to be a part of the team, we're looking for more editors. We're looking for more, honestly, content creators. We're expanding. We're becoming more of a show. We need stat collectors. We need showrunners. We need all that stuff. And in some cases, it could be an internship. In other cases, it could be a paid gig too. You know, shouts to Dom, who does all of the social media clips that you see. He get paid now. You know, Dom gets his money from us as well, and he helps out. He's a big part of the team over here at Veterans Minimum. So yeah, we're adding some new pieces, and one thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna make the Patreon a lot cheaper and a lot easier for everybody starting in June. So for everyone that is a Patreon member, please go and adjust your tier. We're only having $1 and $5 tiers. We're getting rid of the $10, the $20, the $40 tier. We appreciate you sons of bitches so much for the money that's been donated to the Patreon throughout the years. And looking at some of these numbers, there's still people that I need to get things out to. The $1,000 club, we gotta give you guys some love and give you guys some like bonus perks. Gonna send out a couple things to you guys, but there's a couple people that I've pledged over $1,000. We got Nick Chavez, we got Christopher Velasquez, Derek Platees, Daniel Gibson, Jordan Riley, Dylan Chadwick, and shouts to Ryan Pisner and Devin Rendon. You guys are at the $950 club. So if we were to continue this, you guys would be hitting that number as well. But to everybody, there's so many people that have spent a lot of money on the Patreon. And look, man, I just haven't been able to fulfill a lot of that, right? A lot of the giveaways, we've done it. We've done some giveaways monthly, but we should be doing more and more. And since we can't, I want to make it where you guys can support the show at a very, very low cost. $1, you know, it's part of the read that we always do. We always mention how like $1 American dollar, that's all we really want. And like my goal now is to get to $5,000 pledged to the Patreon. That's my goal. We get thousands of people that consume the content, thousands of people that listen to the show. So if we can get $1 from everybody, you won't even realize it on your statements. We're going to start blasting the shit out of this so people can go and sign up. Patreon.com/Veterans Minimum. And then the $5 tier is just going to be as it's been. You know, you get access to the Discord. We'll still be doing giveaways. We'll still be doing the contest, the NFL contest and all that. You know, we're coming up on 10 years of Veterans Minimum this football season. You know, it'll be the 11th preview show that we're doing. So we're really excited about all that. But it's just something that I've been wanting to do for a while because I don't like lying to people. I don't like not being able to fulfill certain things. And with the Patreon, we just haven't been able to do that and to give you guys that extra content. And any extra content that we do, like when we did that vlog when we went to Portland, we got a bunch of shit planned for the football season that we'll be doing as well. And we're just going to put that up on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Veterans Minimum. So yeah, man, I hope you guys continue to support the show. Thank you for rocking with us throughout the offseason of the NFL. It's been some pretty fun conversations that we've had. We have a fun summer series coming up throughout the summer that's going to be releasing, and I'm just looking forward to it. So patreon.com/veterans minimum. We're moving to $1 and $5 tiers starting in June. So please go and adjust your payment, your subscription, and then continue to rock with us. Okay, so I didn't really care about the NBA draft lottery. I'll be completely honest with you, but I had it on TV because it was right before the Knicks game and they put the lottery on. And again, I wasn't really excited for the lottery until I saw the 4 teams that might have had a chance at the number 1 pick. Oh boy, did shit really get crazy during that NBA lottery. As I have it on and, you know, I'm doing a little meal prep and I'm getting my food ready for a late lunch, I see the last 4 teams. It's the Mavericks, it's the Spurs, it's the 76ers, and it's the Hornets. And in my head, I'm like, if the fucking Mavericks get the first pick, it's going to be fireworks. If the fucking Spurs get the first pick, it's going to be fireworks. And then you see it goes to Charlotte, gets the first name picked, so they get the 4th overall. That's what I mean. You know, like when they had the 4 teams up there, the first graphic that they show out of the envelope, it's the Hornets. And then it's the 76ers. And I'm like, bro, Spurs and Mavs, right? Obviously, we have a couple of seconds to digest this. Imagine if the Spurs get the number 1 pick and then you got Wemby, you get Cooper Flag, get Castle, you get De'Aaron Fox. Like, holy shit, is Popovich coming out of retirement? That's what I thought. And then the Spurs get the 2nd pick, and then it's the Mavericks, and you're just thinking, what a fucking wild ride they've had the last, I don't know, 14 months, 15 months. Remember, last year they make the trades at the trade deadline and they catch fire. They become one of the best teams in the league. They go all the way to the conference finals. They win the Western Conference. They go to the finals. They get smoked by the Celtics, but they completely overachieved. Then they come into this season. You have the Luka trade that goes down. They get Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is a hell of a player. He's a top 25 player in the league if he's healthy. But trading Luka was so controversial and so polarizing that we basically treated him like he was Steve Novak. And we're like, yo, bro, they got Steve Novak for fucking Luka. That's how we were treating Anthony Davis. And then Kyrie goes down, right? And then this team still makes the play-in, which I don't think a lot of people are talking about right now. This team made the play-in, despite all that. And then they get the number 1 pick. Now, you guys are going to hear a voice for the first time, and someone that we've mentioned many times on this show before. He's a conspiracy theorist. He's into aliens. He's also a part of the A-team here at the studio. My dog, Jory. Jory, tap in. Let us know, first of all, thoughts on this. Do you think this is a conspiracy that they gave the Mavericks this pick?
Let me tell you, brother. Yes, 100%. It's rigged. Adam Silver's getting it back in blood for the Mavericks. I'll tell you this. And I'm gonna leave you with this. This is my theory. Las Vegas move for the Mavericks, 2027. It's inevitable. And proof's right here, bro. When it happens too, you know, we're gonna have to come back to this.
So a lot of people have been talking about the Vegas move. I don't want to get too much in detail in that, but I do agree with you that, well, actually, no, I just lied to you. I don't agree with you. What I did get excited for, as anyone that knows me, is I love chaos. I fucking love chaos. I love when people absolutely lose their mind. And I just knew that when they announced that the Mavericks got the number 1 pick, everybody was coming out the woodworks like, yo, this is rigged. This is a get back for giving up on Luka and giving him to the Lakers. This is what they get back. And could be. What I will tell you is this. You're a number 1 pick. You're Cooper Flag, and you get a chance to go into the league, and you could go to a team like Dallas. There's a lot worse teams you could go to. They got a very solid core. I was making the case for them being a team that maybe initially it's a better move for the Mavericks getting rid of Luka with what they had. And then, of course, Kyrie goes down and AD is in and out the lineup, and like Klay Thompson is no longer the Klay of old. But a lot of people, like just on my mentions, it's obvious they are awarded this for playing along with the Luka trade that was orchestrated by the league. Shouts to my boy Dylan back home. Someone else said, I called this fucking months ago, check the dates, all the injuries, so the Mavs fall into the lottery and then the NBA can rig the draft so they get flagged is the next conspiracy theory. As a Knicks fan, we know about the frozen envelope with Patrick Ewing. Ironically enough, Cleveland gets LeBron James in 03 of all the years that Cleveland could have the number one pick. Oh, the guy from Akron, Ohio, the hometown boy, ironically enough, goes to Cleveland. I feel like that doesn't get mentioned enough. But if you're Cooper Flagg, you could go to a team and you could be a stud right away, and you're playing with grizzled vets. You're playing with a really good team, and you got a respectable coach in Jason Kidd. And the organization up until this trade was like a pretty successful organization. Jory, do you think that this Mavs getting the number one pick is going to start to get blown out of proportion and more people are going to be thinking it's rigged?
Oh, definitely. And like you just said, it's been going on for years already, and this is just adding fuel to the fire, bro. It's all bad. They can't beat the allegations either. I believe it too.
The allegations, bro, it's a couple things where you're like, it gets hard to defend.
Yeah, exactly.
There's just a couple things that go down where you're like, man, I want to believe you that you're not lying or bullshitting me, but your actions tell me otherwise, right? It could be your boy, it could be your parents, it could be your girl, it could be teams, right? Like, hey, listen, we don't think the NFL is rigged, but ironically enough, anytime it's a game-altering call, it goes in favor of the Chiefs. The superstars get all the fouls in the NBA. So I don't know. It was really funny. I enjoyed it. Like I said, I did not have on the menu of things to talk about the NBA lottery. It was going to be one of those throwaways like, oh yeah, the Wizards got the number one pick. And by the way, for the audience, Jory and I'm glad that you're on the show for this today, bro, because we were talking a couple weeks ago. Give me a team that you think is just always gonna be bad, because to me, I think it's the Wizards, bro. Like no chance of ever winning a title.
Yeah, Hornets too, I think.
Ooh,
yeah.
Give me an NFL team.
The Browns. They're never gonna escape it, bro.
Yeah, you just can't see a team like that being in a fucking parade. You know what I mean? Like throwing a parade because they won. Yeah, I feel you, bro. I feel you. So if you're a Wizards fan, you got to be fucking miserable because you were tanking all year for Cooper Flagg, and they did a couple nice things in the draft last year. And I still think Jordan Poole is a really good player. I just think that he's a punching bag, literally, in the NBA and around NBA circles where people just like to poke fun at him because of what we saw happen with him and Draymond Green. So. Yeah, let us know in the comments what you guys think about this one, because I'm definitely intrigued by the conspiracies. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I'm not someone that's really married to my ideas and my thoughts. If someone has an opinion, I'm like, yeah, I can see it. It might not alter my opinion at all, but I'm pretty open to conversations and open to people's ideas. I think that's what's made me really successful in my field, and what's made me really successful just on a day-to-day basis, like going through life. If someone has something that they're passionate about and they I don't want to say convince me, but they give me their thoughts and it's a well-orchestrated conversation, I'm like, yeah, you know what? I can see it. That's cool. It's even like what I always say about the sports betting world, right? I'm not someone that I don't tail anybody's picks. I don't really listen to anybody's picks. I'm pretty stubborn. I feel like I know my shit, and I've done pretty well over my career of creating betting content and even betting. And I feel like I don't really listen to anyone's picks. Now, if there's someone, right, like shouts to my guy, Matty Betts. If Matty Betts, him and I, we've talked about this all the time. If he's on a fighter and I'm on the other fighter, I'm still going to bet my guy, but I might lessen my bet. If I was going to throw 100 on it, maybe now I throw 50. If he's like so adamant about the other guy, I'll be like, you know what? Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I'm open to it. I could see it. Damn, you're that confident about that guy? I respect your opinion so much. I'll lessen the betting size on it. So that's kind of how I've always been. But when it comes to like these conspiracies, they get harder and harder to justify sometimes. So, all right, let's pivot over to the Knicks. They win game 4 after losing game 3. And, you know, if you watch the Celtics all year, this is what Boston was doing. Boston was just 3, 3, 3, 3. They were making 17.8 threes per game, and they were attempting over 42 threes a game, right? And one thing about Boston that was really interesting is they like to shoot threes very quick into the shot clock. Like the amount of threes now, you know, they're probably going to play one more game. We'll get to Tatum in just a sec. But if you've watched Boston, one thing that they do is they want to put up so many threes that they don't mind taking a quick 3 with like 16 seconds left on the shot clock. Because in their mind, it's, all right, let's get this shot off. And if it doesn't go, then we'll catch up on the possessions later on by shooting so many threes. And that's what they did, and especially in game 3, right? They went 20 for 40. They were 25 of 100 the first 2 games. You knew there was going to be regression to it. And then the more I was thinking about it, it's like, man, everybody's talking about the regression to the mean for Boston, that they're not going to shoot this bad for 3. My take was, yo, I feel you. I believe that the Knicks weren't going to win another game in this series after losing game 3. But also, the Knicks didn't really play a banger game yet until game 4, where you had OG show up. You had Towns show up. We know about Brunson every game. Then you had Mikal Bridges do his thing. So everybody was saying Boston wasn't going to shoot that bad again. It's like, well, New York also wasn't going to play this poorly. And that's what you saw in game 4. And it was cool. Shout out to the Knicks fans. I know we're a little delusional. I think we're a little crazy also. Jory, you being someone on the West Coast your whole life, and you're a Warriors fan, that game's going on right now. It's 49-44 Timberwolves at the time that we're recording this. But what is your perception of New York Knicks fans as someone that's not from the East Coast?
Bro, 100% delusional. 100%. I will say this. You guys definitely, you know, through the good and the bad, y'all ride for the team regardless. I think that's probably the most, y'all's best trait. But I think, yeah, you guys have no chance of winning a lot of years. And I think you're going to the finals for some reason. So that's my take.
Yeah, it's always dope, bro, to hear the perspective from people that are not from that city, like how they view your team, right? Like, bro, I'll never forget, dude, and you'll get a kick out of this because I know you're a soccer fan. I remember talking to a couple customers of mine from the coffee truck in the city, and I would always ask them, like, they're German or they're like Italian. I mean, like off the boat, like tourists that would come to visit the coffee truck in New York City. I'd be like, yo, what do y'all think about, like, Pulisic? What do y'all think about McKinney, right? Like these guys play in Italy at the time. You know, one was playing in Germany. They both were playing in Germany, actually. And it's like, what do you think of them? And they're like, bro, here's the biggest issue with your people, you Americans. Y'all are not American when you're in America. Like, when you go to Germany, everybody's German. Yeah. When you go to Japan, everybody's Japanese. When you go to Brazil, everybody's Brazilian. Yeah. When you're in the States, bro, and then I started thinking about me. When people ask me, like, where I'm from, I say, I'm born and raised in Queens, in New York. My family is Greek. Like, I rep being Greek. Whereas, you know, my friends, they say they're Italian. My other friends say they're Jamaican. My other friends say that they're, you know, from Egypt. Like they never say they're American until you leave and you go to like a Colombia or you go to Egypt, you go to Greece, you're like, oh yeah, I'm from the States, I'm from the US. And I say all that because sometimes you don't really know what exactly your team is because you're so close to it. And to bring it back to like the soccer conversation, he would tell me that these guys would tell me all the same thing. And it was interesting to see people from different parts of my life. It's not like they knew each other so they could, you know, gang up on the conversation, but they'd be like, yo, you guys are like good in American standards, but y'all not it elsewhere. You know, to us, it's like, okay, cool. You know, you guys draw against Ireland and it's a big deal. And then Germany goes into Ireland and beats them 4-1 in like a qualifier. So I always found that really interesting. And that's why I like asking people like, yo, what do you think of fans of so-and-so especially like when you get around it, right? Because like, us two work together and we become friends, and like you see me repping the Knicks and talking about the Knicks, and it's like, now that you know a New Yorker, maybe your algorithm has more New York in it. Maybe like, you're around it more. What is your perception? So that's why I wanted to hear.
Yeah, you guys are toxic, bro. It's never gonna change, neither.
Yeah. Hey, listen, man. That's why I like to explain to people that I'm pretty rational with my assessments of my teams. I don't always go into every season like, yo, we're gonna win the chip. We're gonna win the chip. I like to try to be a little logical, but it's hard not to get caught up in this. The Knicks take a 3-1 lead. Right now, as we speak, they are the betting favorites to win the Eastern Conference. This has been the case for Boston all year, even with the Cleveland Cavaliers being the number 1 seed. We'll get to Cleveland in just a bit, but I want to mention something about Jason Tatum. Man, oh man, did that suck to see. And I am a college dropout. I have a high school education. I talk in front of a microphone and produce shows for a living. I am by no means a doctor, and I know ever since the pandemic, we've had many, many doctors come out on social media. I think it's a torn Achilles because of all the years that I've been watching sports. Anytime a dude falls the way he did, it's usually an ACL or an Achilles. And then on top of that, Jory, did you see how he was crying and grabbing his foot, bro? Did you see
grabbing the calf?
Yeah. That's a telltale right there, man. It's like, bro, we're not doctors, but we've been watching sports long enough. And then when he's getting wheelchaired out, he's doing this. Yeah, and he's in tears, bro. What'd you think about that when that happened?
Sad shit, man. It sucks, man. I know that there's a lot of people that don't like Tatum and everything, but you never want to see a young player go down with an injury like this because an Achilles and ACL, you never come back the same, and hopefully he does, but it's going to be a tough road to recover. He'll probably miss all next year, and we'll see what happens, but it was sad, man. Super sad. I'm not a Boston fan by any means, but super sad.
Nah, for sure. And I think what you said there is very important as well, that he's probably missing next year too. Look, he's 27 years old. He's going to be 28 in March of next year, but he gets hurt in May. He's out all of next year. This is why when you get hurt at this time of the year, it's a double negative, right? Like anytime you get hurt, it's a negative, but it's even worse, right? It's so much worse. It's like what happened to Odell Beckham Jr. He gets hurt in the Super Bowl. Not only does he not finish the Super Bowl, he misses all of next year as well. And if you're Tatum, right, you're going to be, next time that we see him on the court, you're going to be 28 and a half years old. You're going to be 28 coming off an Achilles. What is your team going to look like, right? There was already rumblings of this is going to be the last year that you could keep this core of Boston Celtics together. Look, they just sold the team for what, $6.2 billion. And then you have this injury go to your most important and your most impactful player. Dude was going crazy in this game, bro. He had, in 40 minutes, he had 42 points, 4 assists, 8 rebounds. And it's like a loose ball that him and OG are going for. And he just collapsed. It looks like he just got sniped in the ankle. And he goes down. And I think my take is always nobody knows their body more than them. You know when you fucked your shit up, right? What was it that you heard, dude?
Man, when I tore my ACL, it was so weird. Like I didn't really hear anything. I felt the pop, and then I completely lost the ability to stand up straight. It was crazy because I jumped and I came down on it. It was wild. I'd never felt anything like that before, too. It was crazy. I knew it was torn, too.
And that's what I'm saying, because I've torn my ACL also. And when it happened to me, I was running out of bounds playing football. And I got shoved as I was going out of bounds, and my knee just buckled. And I immediately started bawling out, crying. And I was crying, bro, not because of the pain. Like I was able to get up and like walk off the field, but I just knew I'd never experienced anything like this. And I had a couple of friends that had some knee injuries in the past, and they would always describe what happened to them. And then I would say to myself, holy shit, this is what it feels like, right? So you just know your body better than anybody. And it's something that the immediate reaction told me everything I needed to know about it, because it was the reaction in the wheelchair more for on the court. Like on the court, sometimes like It happened to me a couple weeks ago, bro. I got caught in a knee bar and I thought my fucking knee exploded. That initial shock is like, damn, you thinking worst case scenario, but couple minutes go by and you're like, all right, this isn't too bad. You know, you rest a day or two and like you're back to normal, like nothing happened. But the immediate shock and when the adrenaline goes down, that's when you realize how bad it might be. So to me, the telltale was when he's getting not stretchered off, when he's on the wheelchair in the locker room and he's just hands over his face like this and he's balling out. I was like, yeah, we ain't gonna see bro for a little bit. And you know, you look at it, it's the same thing that happened to Jamal Murray with the Nuggets. That ended up sacrificing 2 postseasons for them. And that's what's gonna happen here with Boston and Tatum with this injury, because yes, they were down 6 points when the injury happened. They were down 2 possessions, let's just say that, because I don't have the exact number of when he got hurt. But, you know, there was still a couple minutes left. But then this was a team that, despite being down 2-0 in the series, was still minus 150 to win the series, right? And then when they were down, when they won game 3, they became minus 250 again. Like, people still thought that, you know, if Tatum was to be healthy, I'd still be nervous if I was a Knicks fan, right? Like, they go back to Boston, they probably hit 25 threes, and then you come back Friday to the Garden, and you'll be nervous. You don't want to have it go 7, but now the Knicks are 3-1 up, and they're going to play later this week. And it just doesn't look good, man. It doesn't look good, obviously, if you're Boston. What does the future hold for you? It's not something that they just might lose this series. They're going to lose this core. And then what is Boston going to look like next year, right? And they're not going to have Tatum, right? Guys like Tatum, guys like Damian Lillard who got hurt when they got hurt. Bro, they're missing all of next year. Maybe you'll get Kyrie back. Kyrie got hurt in like March. Maybe you'll get him back, but still, he's not going to be 100% upon return. And especially an Achilles. It's super sad. I'm just happy that dude's gotten paid, right? Like, obviously you never want anyone to get hurt, but like if you get hurt going into a contract year and then they could be like, oh, well, you know what? You were supposed to make $350 million. Here's $200 million. Still a shitload of money. But in hindsight and in comparison to what they're worth, it would be a bummer. So I'm just glad that he got his money. And look, he's still young enough, right? He'll come back. He'll be still under 30. And his game it was the same. I feel the same way with Tatum that I felt about with Durant. When Durant got hurt, everybody was saying his career is over. If you look at his numbers, his numbers in many spots are better than they were before the Achilles. And it's because high percentage shooter, his game doesn't, they're athletic, but they're not Russell Westbrook or Blake Griffin or John Wall, who rely solely on their athleticism to allow them to be successful. So that's why I think Tatum is going to be fine when he does come back. And again, this isn't really confirmed. This is just my assessment of the situation for the years of being a sports fan and seeing this happen time and time again. Is it not, bro? Jory, is it not the weirdest fucking injury of all time, dude?
Definitely, bro. Like I said, it's no way to even to describe it. Like, it's just one of those things. You feel so powerless, bro. Like, can't do anything.
But like, bro, what is it about it that you think it happens like so random, right? Like,
yeah.
It's not like when a baseball player gets Tommy John, you're like, yo, bro, dude is at like 120 pitches and he throws like 99 miles per hour. That shit might go at any moment. Right. But like, bro, an injury like that, it looked like he was doing those drills where, you know, like you backpedal and then you explode forward. Yes. Like that's so crazy to me. What do you think it is? I know we're just like talking out of our ass. We're not really fucking physicians, but it's just so wild that it happens so often on such a basic movement.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I literally jumped up, came down toward it. Some shit I've done a million times, you know. Never even thought about it. I don't know what causes it though. I don't know. We have to do a little more research into that.
Yeah, I definitely want to get someone to come on the show that's like a surgeon or some shit, or maybe like a physician, and be like, bro, why does this happen? Why the fuck does this happen? It's so crazy, man.
Yeah, I like to think too, if I didn't tear it the day I tore it, I like to think I was gonna tear it eventually anyway.
Whoa, yeah?
You know, that's how I like to think about it.
Damn, how so though?
I don't know. I feel like all the miles that I've put on my body playing basketball, whether it be college, high school, whatever the case, I just feel like that's just the way I look at it. I don't know.
Man.
You think that you would have torn yours on a different occasion if you didn't tear it that day?
You know what's crazy, bro? I never think about getting hurt.
Yeah.
Ever. And the only time I've mentioned me tearing my ACL is in conversations like this.
Right.
Like my buddy Zach, who's our wrestling coach over at the gym, he just had ACL surgery, and I've stopped by his crib a couple times and I've helped like pick him up and like move him around and shit. Yeah. Like when we go to hang out, and I'm like, yo, bro, listen, man, I've been there, so I have sympathy for you. I'm being very empathetic towards you because I've been there. I know what it's like. But I tore my ACL in November of 2013, and then I had surgery a week before Christmas. And I just remember, bro, I was 20, so 2013, I was 22, right? And it's crazy because I'm almost the age that I said what I'm about to say. I was like, yo, dude, the doctor was like, hey, man, what's like your main goal from this, right? Like at the time, I was like, bro, I'll probably be, I still want to go kick and chase this free agent dream and all this like nonsense, right? I was like, yo, bro, listen, I'm 22 right now. I'll be 23 in March. I don't want to be 35 and have to remember that I tore my knee up. I don't want to have the still walking with a limp or still feeling some type of way and not being able to go play basketball, not be able to go play football, or, at the time I wasn't doing jiu-jitsu, but not be able to do these things where I still train like I'm an athlete. Like I don't lift heavy. I like lifting for mobility and agility. And I like being able to go play a full court basketball game and then be able to walk the next day. Where I have some friends, they go play pickup basketball and then they need, they play pickup basketball on Saturday. They're out of commission till Thursday. I never wanted that, right? So I never really think about getting hurt because I feel like that's when you do get hurt. Facts. When you go into things expecting the worst, it's like the laws of attraction, right? I do make fun of a lot of that stuff, but there's a couple of things that I do believe in, man. Like I think like, The Secret, the book, The Secret, the 4 agreements, the laws of attraction. I'm for it, but you also got to work, right? You and I can't just be sitting here being like, man, I want an orange McLaren. And then every single day we're not working towards it. Right. So yeah, all that words of affirmation and self-improvement stuff, it's like, yeah, all that, I'm cool with all that stuff. But if you ain't doing nothing, ain't nothing gonna happen. So with the knee stuff, I never went into anything thinking I'm gonna get hurt. When it happened, that's never crossed my mind, bro. I know I kind of went off on a tangent, but I never thought, if I would have gotten hurt if it wasn't for that.
My bad. I'm just thinking. Yeah. So prior to actually getting hurt, I never thought about it. But it wasn't till after, like, I guess to make myself feel better, like, because the day I got hurt, I wasn't even supposed to play. I was filling in. So then my mind went to like, bro, I wasn't even supposed to fucking be here. I tore my ACL. Right. Probably would have happened in the future. Anyways, I guess it's a coping mechanism for me, Because you're right. I never, playing basketball, playing football, whatever, I never thought about getting hurt. I would go across the middle and get fucking smacked. Never think about it, But, hey, I don't know. Maybe it's just my defense mechanism. Yeah.
Hey, it could be, man. However it is that and I don't mean to say this in a dick way, but even though it's going to definitely come off as a dick way, but like whatever helps you sleep at night and makes you feel better about it, like go with that. I'm someone that I truly believe that, like, listen, I'm gonna make fun of it regardless, but if that's really what helps you to get through whatever like BS you're going through, then I'm for it. So enough about sad stuff, but we definitely needed to address the Tatum and Celtics thing. I'm gonna skip over the Cavs and Pacers series, and honestly, what it comes down to for me is the Cavs didn't have their second and third best player for the first couple of games. And even when Garland and Mobley came back, Garland still don't look that good. He ran. I thought he fucking blew out an Achilles or something yesterday. He collapsed during the game at one point, non-contact, and then Donovan Mitchell goes down. But despite all that, bro, like that game 2 loss that they had, that the Pacers won down 7 with a minute to go. All time fireable offense. Like that is You can't let that happen, especially when you're shorthanded, right? Like you're shorthanded like the Cavs were, and Mitchell goes for the 40 piece that he had. To let that happen, just egregious. And, you know, everybody's shitting on the Cavs like, yo, fraud check. Look, the bets that I made, the bets that I've made on the show, none of them are live. I'll be honest with you, because it was basically fading the Thunder in the West and pairing everyone with the Celtics. I didn't see this coming from the Knicks. Do I have a Knicks future? Yes, of course. I have a 60-1 on the Knicks. I'll post it tomorrow, but I don't like posting some of these, bro, because like I didn't give them out, right? Like that's strictly a homer play. But you know, I didn't see the Cavs coming out the East. I didn't see the Pacers. I didn't see the Knicks coming out. I saw the Celtics. And obviously with the Tatum injury, I just think that it's really, really unlikely. And now with the Knicks being up 3-1. So with the Cavs, I wasn't buying into them all year. The comparison has been made to the Hawks of the mid-2010s with like, you know, what's his name? Like Jeff Teague and Al Horford and the Joe Johnsons of the world and Kyle Korvers that, you know, they'd win 60 games and then they would get bounced in the second round by LeBron and the Cavs, who the Cavs, you know, at the time, and even those Heat teams that he was on, they were bouncing everybody. So I don't want to make that comparison, but there's just something about it where like there's certain teams and certain players that I just think their ceiling is this. Like this is as far as they could go with the core that they have. And that's kind of what I see with Donovan Mitchell. With Donovan Mitchell, with the Cavs, I feel like conference semis is like, it's the ceiling. And again, I know I'm being harsh because Mobley's been banged up and Garland was banged up. And if you take away the second and third best player off any team, there's going to be a problem in any sport. You take away the second and third best player, and we're not next man up. You know why? Because those guys aren't worth $40 million a year. So that's why it's next man up is it's the worst. Bro, the worst take in sports is when a guy gets hurt and they're like, next man up. It's like, well, bro, you know what? The next man up isn't a $52 million a year player. So we're probably going to have some issues in that department and we're not going to be able to next man up. So yeah, Ty Jerome is cool when you're coming off the bench and you're doing your thing in the regular season. Now there's expectations, and there was the one game he was like 1 for 10 and he was shooting just horribly. And next man up, it's the worst fucking take in sports. Is there anything in basketball you want to talk about, bro, before we move on? I got a George Pickens rant I got to get off my chest.
Oh man,
we haven't had a chance to discuss this.
I think you get off with that. I think you go ahead and do that George Pickens rant. You covered basketball. I don't see the. Okay, I have a question for you. You think the Pacers can go to the final?
I think the Pacers are such a son of a bitch to play. I think they're so versatile. I think they could beat you in many different ways. I think the fact that they don't have an absolute superstar, even though Tyrese Halliburton is definitely, he's playing with a chip on his shoulder because that report came out of the poll came out, the anonymous poll. They voted him the most overrated player in the league, and you know I don't necessarily disagree with that. I think he's in the discussion, but you're seeing him taking it to the next level. And he just has a lot of pieces, right? Like Nembhard, they got Siakam, Turner had a big game. They got the random white dude, McConnell, coming off the bench. You always need the random white guy, bro.
Absolutely.
Every basketball team needs the token white dude that just hits a couple threes. Yep. He's a change of pace guy, right? Like all the white stereotypes, right? Like he's plays hard, right? You know, does things that don't appear on the box score. Every team needs that white guy, and they have one in McConnell. He's a former sixth man of the year when he was with the Bucks, and they just have a lot of guys now. Like, let's not forget, this team went to the conference finals last year. Yeah. This is a team that this core has been together for a little bit now. There's like year 3 of this core. And they've been in hostile environment. Like they played the Knicks last year in the Garden. They went to Boston. This is a team that they're not going to back down from anyone. And they have a lot of different ways that they could beat you. And I am so worried about the Knicks playing them in the next round if things continue to go the way they are, that it would be prototypical Knicks that they beat the Celtics and they lose to the Pacers to not go to the finals. It's gonna be a bar fight. You're gonna see a lot of throwbacks to the Reggie Miller matchups. Patrick Ewing going up against Smits and all those guys with the Pacers, and Indiana is not always the friendliest place to go play in. Indiana is the home state of the KKK, so they're not always the most polite to NBA players when they go and play over there. It's gonna be a fucking bar fight for sure. I'm excited for it. I'm nervous for it, but also, you know what, man, like. One thing, bro, that's really changed for me as I've gotten older, and I think maybe it's because my teams have not been as successful. I really enjoy the runs that my teams go on because it's been a question that I've always asked people in the past. It's like, if your team's expectations going into the year are this, but then as the season is going on, it gets to here, is this still considered a success? Because of what your expectations were? Or do your expectations change when you're like, yo, bro, we're fucking one win away from the conference finals. We got a chance to go to the finals. Now, like, you don't know what things are going to look like next year. You never know what things are going to look like next year. So I really do a good job of trying to stay present, trying to stay logical as best I can, and be like, man, you know what? It would suck if they don't make it to the finals this year with everything that's fallen into place. If you really think about it, like the Pacers, let's be honest, haven't really been tested the first two rounds, man. They had no Damian Lillard, and then Dame got rushed back. Then he blows out an Achilles. You already had the Bucks being hobbled coming into the playoffs. And then they play the Cavs team with no DeAndre Hunter didn't play in game 2. You didn't have Mobley. You didn't have Garland. Shit, you had 3 of the 4 best players weren't playing, right? So that's why they're up 3-1. And then you're going to see this Knicks team where, I always talk about the 5-5-5-5 take, right? It's game 5. You're down 5 minutes to go. Who's the 5 that you have out there? The Knicks could, those 5 guys that they have, that starting lineup that closes out games for them, they have ways that they could beat you. And that's a good starting 5. The issue comes with the Knicks. Well, what happens if Brunson don't got it? And what happens if we're not getting anything from OG? Like, OG needs to be the second best player on the team. He has to consistently be doing that. And then Bridges does what he does defensively. And whatever you could get from Towns is always, he's another X factor too. Like, the Knicks have a bunch of X factors. I think my personal favorite is definitely Josh Hart, because Josh Hart does a lot of shit that, like, I was being funny before about McConnell, but like, there's mad shit he does that don't appear on the box score. And every team needs a guy like that. So yeah, we'll be back later this week with some more NBA updates. We're definitely going to be recording a show later this week. But I want to talk about the NFL. Something happened in the NFL, and it was George Pickens got traded to the Dallas Cowboys. My take is this. He's going to probably light it up in Dallas, but I also think it was a really good move for Pittsburgh. Look, anytime a team lets go of a player for nothing, really, I always kind of defer to the team because they're in the locker room with him. They see him every day. What are his training habits like? We've seen the head case that he's been on the sideline. Like, it's a funny meme of, like, when the quarterback throws an interception, they show like 2 WWE wrestlers squaring up, or like 2 UFC guys fighting, like George Pickens with the DB after the play, right? Like, there's a lot of truth to that too. Like, these memes don't pop up for nothing. There's some truth behind them. I think Pickens is a really, really good number 2 wide receiver. We saw him in the number 1 role, what it looked like for Pittsburgh. And I wonder how much of that was just Pittsburgh didn't really have anything to show offensively, that they were like, oh my God, George fucking Pickens. Like, there was one game, Jory, during the season where, like, Pickens didn't play, and he didn't play for like 2 games, and like the Pittsburgh offense couldn't move the ball. And you're like, holy, is he fucking Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson? Right. Where Is Pickens worth something against the point spread? No way. Like, he's not that kind of guy. And then you saw he comes back into the lineup and the offense opens up. And you're like, holy shit. For Pittsburgh, he is valuable.
100%.
But also, they get DK Metcalf in the offseason, who I think is the most underrated wide receiver in the league. Him and like Terry McLaurin. And I was saying this to Brandon Marshall when he was on the show. Shouts to the name drop, Brandon Marshall. When he was on the show, I was telling him, bro, you know who I think the most underrated receiver in the game is? Terry McLaurin. And he's like, bro, I agree with you. I think it's Terry McLaurin. Get him a quarterback, see what could happen. And then he got a quarterback this year, and you saw what could happen. I think DK Metcalf, like, even when he got there with Russ, it was like the tail end of Russ. Like, we didn't really get to see DK Metcalf. Like, bro, I've been thinking about DK Metcalf going to like a Bills or a Chiefs or a Chargers all these years. Yeah. He goes to Pittsburgh, which, is it going to be Aaron Rodgers? You're not going into the season with Mason Rudolph. That's all you got really on the docket right now, because Justin Fields is in New Jersey with the Jets, and Russell Wilson is there with the Giants, right? So, like, what do you have over there? But I think with Pickens going to Dallas, I really like this move for Pickens and Dallas, because now you got CeeDee Lamb, so we know who the alpha is. We know who's going to command all the main attention. And then you got George Pickens going over there. And I think Dak Prescott has been the most successful when he has two wide receivers, when he had the Michael Gallup on the other side of a CeeDee Lamb. That's when you got to see Dak really put up big numbers. And the problem with Dallas is the same thing. September to December is not an issue for Dallas. It's January and February, which we haven't seen him in February in a fucking very long time. But I think this was a move that Pittsburgh was just like, yo, bro, listen, man, you ain't worth the headache, dude. You're just not worth the headache. You're not worth the shit that we got to deal with on a day-to-day basis. And this is going to sound super shallow, but it's like that in relationships too. You're laughing back there because you know I'm onto something here.
You're cooking.
Bro, listen, there's some times where you deal with someone because they're very attractive or they provide things for you. And you're like, I'll turn the blind eye. I'll turn the other way. Eventually it gets to the point, it's like, yo, bro, listen, the return on investment ain't it. It's not worth it. Like I said before, like, bro, do you know why Randy Moss got chance after chance in the league whenever he was being a head case or whatever it might be? It's because he was a fucking hell of a talent. You know why Mike Vick, the moment he got out of prison for the dog sentences, got picked up by a team and then signed a $100 million deal? Because he's a hell of a talent. You know what Dante Stallworth did back in the day? He did some foul shit. Plaxico Burress immediately was provided a new opportunity because they're talented. And people put up with your shit when you're talented. I've told this story many, many times, and we'll end with this. I used to have a customer in New York City come in every morning, dude, every morning, hammered. I'm talking 7 a.m., 7:30, 6:30 in the morning, just smells of fucking liquor. And one day he shows up at like 8 o'clock and his boss is there too. I'm like, I don't know, I'm like 18 years old, I'm 17 years old. I don't really know the game, Jory. I'll be honest. I kind of snitched on the dude and I feel really bad to this day. But I just didn't know the game at the time. But his boss is there and they order and then he pays first and then his boss comes up to the window and I go, hey, Mr. P, you know, fucking Jory shows up every morning hammered, right? Like, what do you, and he's like, dude, I don't get it, but he's the best guy I got. He closes every deal. People like going out with him, obviously, right? He's fucking hammered at 7 a.m. He's a good time. But he's so valuable to my team. He's such an asset that I'll deal with the fuckery because of what he does for me. Steelers are probably like, yo, bro, you know what, man? You're just not worth this headache now that we got DK Metcalf in here. And yeah, we might be a little short at wide receiver, but you know what we do every time we draft a wide receiver? They're going to be a stud because no team in professional sports drafts a position in professional sports like the Steelers do wide receivers. So, yo, Pickens, good luck, man. We'll get a draft pick that will probably flip into a hell of a wide receiver in future drafts, and we'll just go with it that way because we got an alpha in DK Metcalf now. But you're just not worth the return on investment, bro. You're just a headache. So Have fun in Dallas. That's what I took from all this. I still want to see what Pittsburgh does at quarterback. I know he's not a popular name right now, but man, if you look at this roster, top to bottom, offense and defense, and the head coach, it got to be Aaron Rodgers going there. Because if you're Aaron Rodgers, you want a chance to win with a team, this team is ready. Aaron Rodgers didn't really play as bad as people make it out to seem last year. I think it was just a shit show in New York. He's not going to be able to get Mike Tomlin fired because of the resume that Mike Tomlin has and because he's who he is in Pittsburgh. That's not Robert Saleh. No disrespect to him. I think he's going to turn it around. He's going to turn it around in San Francisco when he's the defensive coordinator there. But, bro, you're not going to do that fuckery with Mike Tomlin. Pittsburgh's going to be like, yo, suck our balls, dude. This guy's he's the man here. You're not going to come in and get your buddy from Green Bay to come coach. No, we're not doing that. We're a classy organization. It's our way or the highway. And guess what? Right now, you don't really got many other options if you want to continue playing. But if you're Pittsburgh, I think it's a great landing spot for Aaron Rodgers. And you can't go into the year with Mason Rudolph. We've seen this before. Literally with the Steelers, not even what he did with Tennessee. Like, we've seen you with him before. We're not doing that. So to me, I think this is a great Aaron Rodgers spot. I think the team is mature enough and they're like steady enough where they still need a quarterback. And George Pickens, he's going to light it up. It reminds me, last thing on this, it reminds me what I said about Buffalo and Stephon Diggs. When Diggs went to Houston, I loved it for Houston because they got a grizzled wide receiver, a really good wide receiver for a young quarterback to help the other guys around them. And if you listen to some of the conversations like Nico Collins, Tank Dell, they all credited Stephon Diggs for some of the leaps that they took. Yo, Nico Collins, the first 4 weeks of the season was wide receiver 1. He was like 160 yards ahead of everyone else on receiving yards. And I was telling George, I was like, yo, bro, Nico Collins might give us a run for his money with this Saquon Barkley Offensive Player of the Year bet. And then he pulled the hamstring. He was out for like 6 weeks. And then you saw Houston kind of crater a little bit there. So it was great for Buffalo to get rid of the headache, get rid of Stephon Diggs. And then look what happens. Josh Allen wins MVP. So that's what I think. I think this is a move that Pittsburgh was just like, yo, bro, we're good, man. We're good with you. I can't deal with it. Like I said before, in any relationship, there's the straw that broke the camel's back. And that's what I think this was for Pittsburgh. So anyway, Jory, you're the man. Thanks for hopping on, bro. We'll be getting more of your voice since we always throw it to you in the control room whenever we're recording with George. So you'll be hearing more of Jory moving forward. All things Veterans Minimum or at Veterans Minimum. Please rate, review, subscribe. Share on social media that you're listening to the content, and please continue to support the show on Patreon. Like we said early in the beginning, we're changing the tiers to $1 and $5 tiers. Thank you all for listening, and we'll catch you guys later this week.